of serotonin. Like, people would treat people so much differently.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, there's a real, again, it was one of those drugs that the episode we did, there was a lot of people who are real believers in MDMA and talk about it, how it's being used therapeutically. But obviously there's a flip side to that too. So the reason we decided to investigate MDMA was because I got an email from my son's school in LA. And it was from basically warning parents that there'd been a kid in a school close by, a high schooler, who died thinking they were taking an ecstasy pill and it was laced with fentanyl. Really sad story. But it got me thinking, so who's making ecstasy? Where is it being made? How is it being made? How's it getting here? And then I found out that the biggest, I don't know if you know this, but the best MDMA is actually coming from the Netherlands in Europe. And the drug business there have sort of transformed the country into what many people call a narco state. There was a very high-profile crime journalist called Peter R. de Vries who was killed as he was on the streets of Amsterdam as he was coming out of work one day. Lawyers that were representing this guy that was a whistleblower for one of the big drug leaders was also killed. So there's insane things happening in Holland right now, and a lot of it because of the drug trade and partly because of MDMA. There were videos of torture chambers found. The police did a raid on a place that was being used as torture chambers for rival groups. It's crazy.
We had heard about that. Who brought that up recently, Jamie? Someone brought that up about Moroccans and like...
Yeah.
The Netherlands.
That's
Who was
right.
it? Peter Zion, was it?
Maybe,
I don't know. I'm not sure. It was fairly recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's terrifying. And that's what you get when things are illegal. You get organized crime.
Right.
I mean, that was the prohibition in the United States. It propped up organized crime in the United States.
Yeah. So what happened in Portugal, actually, we talked about how it was decriminalized and why it was such a success is the rates of incarceration went immediately down. The rates of AIDS went down. People are basically given an option whether they want to go to rehab or if they're caught with a certain amount, over a certain amount, or if they want to go to prison. And of course, most people just choose to go to rehab.
Right.
And, the rates of addiction have gone down. There's safe places for people to use drugs. And it really has been an incredible success in Portugal. And I keep telling everyone who wants to listen to me that we should emulate that or at least try to. Because
yes. But I think we already are so deep in this problem in the United States is that the cartels are bringing these drugs over here in such high numbers, and they obviously have a very ruthless organized crime business. And even if it's decriminalized, they're still going to be controlling the supply and demand.
It's true, and that happened with weed in California. So an episode we did last season was about weed and how the black market for weed, the illegal weed market, is actually 3 times bigger than the legal market, even after it's been legalized in California. And that is because the government has made it so difficult for people to get a license and so costly that people just decide to continue running their weed business illegally.
Well, not only that, but they've also made it so that growing marijuana, even with the intent to distribute, is just a misdemeanor. So there was a man named John Norris who we had on the podcast who wrote a book called Hidden Wars, and he was a game warden and in California.
Mm-hmm.
So
I listened to that podcast. It was really good.
Really interesting because his original job was just to find people that were violating fish and game laws, like catching too many fish or something like that. And they found a creek that had dried up and it had been diverted to this illegal grow op on national land. And that these forests.
Yeah, we filmed some of them, and it's crazy. The police went in. We went on a big raid with the police. They went in. They were rappelling down helicopters. We had to hike in, and it was hours and hours with all our gear to try to get to this place. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was fields and fields of illegal weed, and it was all controlled by the cartel. We actually managed to speak to one of them that was there as a worker, and that's the really sad part of it. That a lot of them are just, getting
just
paid
poor.
nothing for.
Yeah, and they're risking their lives, and they're camping out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who works on a ranch in California who discovered one of those.
Oh, wow.
They stumbled upon these pipes, these plastic pipes.
Exactly.
These guys had carried these in 15, 20 miles on their backs. And set this up. And he was like, if they were doing something legal, I mean, these guys are hard workers.
Yeah.
Like you would say, like, this is a guy I'd want to hire. Like, how much ingenuity, how much hard work and disciplined to carry these things so deeply and to set this all up.
But that's the thing with all the black markets. I feel like I investigate that there is so much entrepreneurship, and they're really smart. And again, I think that a lot of them, if they were given, again, not all, but a lot of them, if they were given the legal route, they would have been amazing members of our society.
Yes, a lot of them.
Not all.
The people at the top, though.
Oh no,
no. I mean, they're probably too far gone.
But the people at the top wouldn't be at the top if they didn't have people working and making them money.
Yes,
those are the people.
That's the real problem with poverty, right? The real problem with poverty is like it incentivizes people to do crime because they're so desperate. Their life sucks so bad they're willing to do illegal things just to try to get by and do stuff.